Oh, hey guys. So nice of you to stop by. I'm Justin, and this is Self-Medicated. Now, you're probably surprised to know that we're a three combination, a trichotomy, if you will, of a body, of a soul, and a spirit. The spirit part of us is the part that lives forever, right? And the body part is what you see, this magnificence here. It's the body part of Justin, the excellent body part of Justin. And then we have our soul, which is pretty much, that's the personality of Justin. That's who Justin is, his experiences, his point of view, everything together. But what really makes up your soul is your mind, your will, and your emotions, which we're going to talk about. Well, I'm going to talk about today. Now, you're probably wondering, okay, I know what the mind is, and I know what emotions are, but what the hell is the will? What is that comprised of, Justin? And luckily, I'm here to tell you, like I've known for a long time, and didn't just find out this morning. So, you probably make a lot of decisions based on your emotions, which is what we shouldn't do. We tend to react when we feel something, right? And we react right in the moment. And we don't take time to process it in the mind and then give it over to the will, right? To go through with it. Most of the time, a lot of us, at least me back in the day, react on our emotions. And this isn't good because it leads you far away from your values and what's really important to you, and living the life that is the kind of life you want to reflect and the kind of life that is in alignment with what you truly value and who you truly are as a person, right? Our emotions can be tricky like that, but yet they're important too. So, let me give you an example. A younger, less confident me back in the day was insulted by a guy who said something haphazardly, under his breath while I was walking by. And other people were around to hear it. Now, I should have just probably kept walking or maybe said something smart and witty, right? Right. But I didn't. My feelings got hurt. And I cared what those people around that were witnessing the thing thought about it. So I reacted and started a fight with the guy. And then those people that I was so worried about what they would think about me if I walked away and didn't do anything, they're the ones that called the police on me for hitting the guy. And guess who goes to jail? Justin goes to jail and loses his freedom. So, and which he values. Justin values his freedom way more than what he cares about people think about him. But in that moment, I didn't because I reacted in my emotions. What I should have done was take that to the mind, thought about it for a while on how to get even with him. No, we shouldn't have done that either. But we need to get things over to our mind and then over to our will. But like I said, here I am to tell you what the hell is our will. What is our will, right? Our will is a multifaceted part of our psyche, closely related to decision-making, self-control, and motivation. Our ability to make choices, act on choices, control our behavior, even in the face of desires, impulses, and external pressures. Now, I don't know about you. I'm not so good with this whole will thing so far, as it looks like. But let's talk about conscious decision-making, okay? This is regarding our options. We have the ability to see and recognize options that we have. Okay, we have this option, and that option. And based on that, our brain will already pick a course of action of what we're gonna do and play it out, right? Granted, these things fall victim to life, right? And other circumstances that correlate with it, but those are just variables that we don't really know about. So we have no control of them. And this also can include weighing the possibilities of pros and cons and the ramifications of our actions, right? The consequences or potential reward system, right? So that's that. And then and we decide these things based on logic, emotion, and experience. Now, see, our brain will cognitively think logically and rationally about the pros and cons and weighing all things and formulating how to do something. But also our emotions play a key part on this. And this is where we can be blinded in the thinking process because we're not thinking correctly because we have this emotion, whether the anger, jealousy, whatever it is, right? And that blinds us too. And then we have our experiences. And our experiences can also be kind of prejudiced, right? Because some of us can have bad experiences or good experiences in a particular situation we find ourselves in. But based on that experience prior, we're going to expect within ourselves the same result or the same thing, way of it playing out. Now, this can be a prejudice because we're already like acting like we're already deciding like, okay, this is how the situation is going to play out before it even plays out, right? It could be nothing, but we'll make it up in our head. So we got not only our emotions, but also our experiences clouding our judgment when we should be making decisions. Use the logic. Desires and drives. We have desires and drives, whether it's the desire to, this is part of the will too also, is the motivational part where we have a desire to eat or have social friendships or fellowship, and we have certain desires and needs, right? And then we have drives too. So we also, we won't do certain things based on social norms and expectations about us, right? I don't know if anybody has faced like really bad social disapproval, right? It's not pleasant, right? There's something within us that we're like, oh, we want to feel accepted and a part of and part of the herd and whatnot. And so to be excluded and outcast and shunned is really it's detrimental to who we are. So, anyways, self-control. I had nothing for self-control, which makes perfect sense because I don't know a lot about self-control. I do know this, though. Our ability to say no to our behaviors and our actions and our emotions is part of self-control and self-discipline. And I do know that self-discipline is the highest form of self-love because if you love yourself, you will keep yourself from overindulgence in certain things and pay attention to things that build you up, right? But a lot of us lack that because... well, we're Americans, right? Motivation. So motivation gives us the energy and drive to actually act on our choices and decisions. This is part of the will also, motivation, right? So people will do or not do things based on reward system or consequence system. So the brain recognizes these things and will then will lead us on deciding whether we're enticed by it or not. Basically, like something I might not like something, but you might like something. So it could be motivation for you, but it won't be motivation for me. And so motivations are, what's the word again? Ah, man. Shit. I can't think of it. Okay, I'm off for that one. Habit and autonomy. One habit, once the habit's formed, and no effort's really needed, it becomes like second nature, more self-sustaining. And so the more ingrained that is within you, the harder the habit can be to break because now it's become so fluid within you. You're used to doing it without even conscious thought, right? Whether it's be picking your nose, biting your nails, certain habits. We all have worse habits too. But even those, use of drugs or alcohol or as a coping mechanism to deal with emotions or mental illness or other things that aren't healthy for us that we feed to ourselves because we need something, right? Become habitual after a time. And once we become habitual, they become second nature to us. Almost like we're on automatic pilot and not even really conscious of going through with it. So we have to be conscious. Again, we have to submit our will and our emotions to our mind. Our mind is the place that we want to make decisions in. This is where we want to be decisive and live a life where it's like, okay, you have to tell yourself, what do I value? What do I care about? I think about my family. I feel protective. I feel intense love and dedication, right? So the emotions are good. They play a part where it's like, okay, they help us know what we care about and what we value. True, right? They help us identify those things. And then we can decide, okay, now I need to live a life where I make sure that those things get put into jeopardy or danger because of my actions. And if I'm acting on my emotions, a lot of times for me, I know the people I loved around me suffered while I suffered too. So, awareness. Consequences play a role in helping us stay aligned with our values. It's true. When we are aware of what is around us, this is the conscious part of our mind, which is also the will. Wow, so many things in the will, right? This is also a conscious part of our mind where we're aware of our surroundings. We're aware of people's disapproval and acceptance of whether what we do is right or good or seen as morally virtued, right? Or if it's just if it's shunned or oh no, that's behavior that's sustained by society. We're aware of that. We're conscious of these things, right? So that's also part of our will, and that's also part of our motivation, where it's okay, we make sure that we stay not too much in line to where we're not too socially disapproved or approve, because then people start expecting too much of you, right? If you act too good and you do too great in life, people start expecting more of you, and then you're like, fuck, now you gotta live up to this, right? And it's exhausting. So I always try to like keep one shoe untied or do something. It's like okay, yeah, I'm not gonna expect too much of Justin, you know. So that's just at least works for me. So our will power is our mental process, basically where emotions meet desires and goals together to guide our actions and help us stay in line with what we value and live a life that's on purpose, right? And purposeful, right? It's living a life that is closely aligned with what we care about, what we value, and not ran by our emotions and spur of the moment reactions, right? Or hurt feelings or like my pride, right? We're not going to get caught up in self or in what's the word? Ego. We're not going to get caught up in ego. That's the one. All right, guys. I don't know if that was helpful at all. This was sort of a moment thing. I just realized I haven't done a video in a long time, and I need to be more doing this more. So I hope you guys have a good night. Love you. God bless.